Good evening, race fans. Welcome to tonight's Late Night Rebels Racing here at the Milwaukee Mile for the Sin City 150 presented by Hall Sheet Metal. Looking forward to another great night tonight with all of the drivers. And let's see what they can do here. And single car qualifying is underway. On behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, I'm James Easton in the booth, always bringing the action, 1080p, 60 frames a second. And an absolute pleasure having everyone here tonight, as we're going to be seeing 100 laps around Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Always a great time with these guys every Tuesday night, with qualifying starting at 11 p.m. Eastern. Gives you West Coast guys something to get in for the action. Single car qualifying is out right now. We're watching Kai Shapper at the number 43 machine, the Shappy Edits sponsored Camaro. Let's see what Kai can do his first time out as he blasts through the backstretch lights here at Las Vegas. His best time so far was a 30.54. Looking to see Kai improve on that this next time by in the 43 machine. As always, a major thanks to everybody from across the world who tunes in and helps support their favorite drivers in their favorite leagues. Couldn't do it without you guys. As we see Kai, he puts down a 30.38, but it was not long enough as Garrett and the number 13 machine able to squeeze by at the line. Now you're watching Mike Uribe in the number 77 machine, old Magic Mike Motorsports sponsored car out there. Mike also in the Chevrolet Camaro in the number 77. Let's see what he does his first time by for a flying lap. He clicks off a 30.84. Good enough for a provisional 15th for his opening lap, but let's see what he can do with a flying lap. Uribe clicks off at 31.77, so he will not best his previous time. Let's check out Steve Lovin. Loving's in the number 27 Chevrolet. Always a beautiful Miller machine out there charging hard. Let's see what type of laps he can put down. A big field here tonight. We saw over 30 cars in practice. So I believe this may be one of the biggest grids we've seen so far here at the original Rebel Racing League Late Night Series. Loving puts himself in 6th place with his last time by with a 30.37. Pole is currently owned by Garrett's number 13 machine at 30.33. But let's see, does Loving have a little bit left in the tank? He's going to try and make this racetrack as tight as he can and hold it wide open. Loving crossing the start-finish line. Let's see what he has here. Just like that, puts it on top of a provisional pole, a 30.32. Looks to me like we still have about 6-7 drivers that have not qualified yet. Colton Lanford, the number 25 machine, the Budweiser-backed Chevrolet. He's going to go out for his qualifying run. He does not have a lot of time left, only about 30 seconds left in qualifying, so I don't think Lanford is going to get a time in. Lanford having very, very bad internet connections, it looks like. So let's see if he can get that dialed in before he goes back out there. I don't think Lanford's going to with such bad internet problems, but let's get ready and take it back out there. We'll get our grid here in a second. But again, I'd like to thank the guys over at Late Night Rebels putting this on, this late night league. Not a lot of leagues on the iRacing service where you can join in at 11 o'clock at night and then go out there and have a bunch of fun. So it really helps out the guys on the East Coast. But let's take it to the grid for tonight's feature event. You've got Steve Loving up front in the number 27. Garrett Kinder starting 2nd. Peyton Johnson will be starting 3rd tonight. Jeff Paisley will be starting 4th. Jason Rockefeller starting 5th. Brett Redder will be starting 6th. Dakota Camper in the number 7 spot. David Starwell Cornell in 8th. Kai Shepard in 9th. Justin Wilkinson 10th. Bill Stringfellow will be starting 11th. Matt Geist 12th. And we cycle it back. You've got Jeff Hinkle starting 13th. Michael Smith 14th. Joshua Thompson will be starting 15th. Michael Morrison in the number 21 machine will be starting 16th. Charlie Gates Jr. in the 55 will be starting 17th. Chris Reese 18th. John Dunn starting 19th tonight. Kenneth Farmer 20th. William Griffith starting 21st. Phil Hitman Manzo will be starting 22nd. Mike Uribe will be starting 23rd. Clint Rice 24th. You've got Brett Grunewald starting 25th. Jamie Dobbs starting 26th. Alan Wernecki 27th. James Jones 28th. Colton Lanford 29th. Kyle Roberts 30th. And Gene Watkinson starting 31st to round out a massive field of drivers here today. Looking forward to seeing what happens up on this front row. It's going to be exciting, and it always is at the original Rebel Racing League. Pace car is out. It's going to be Steve Loving, Peyton Johnson on our front row. Loving will be starting on the inside in the number 27. And I believe it's actually going to be Garrett Kinder, the number 13, who lagged a little bit on that start there. He'll be running on the outside line in his Ford Mustang. A massive field here tonight. Going to be interesting to see how long we can go green for at Las Vegas. little bit of shout out for the Avenger Motorsports drivers, Jason and Josh. Rockefeller always has a very sharp looking Avengers painted machine. He's on the inside, the third row back in the 09 with that Spider-Man painted car. A lot of great drivers been running up front all season long. Everything's always been up in the air for the racing, but here we go. Pace car is in. Keep an eye on Steve Loving and Garrett Kinder, excuse me. Here we go. It's going to be a drag race into turn one. Let's see where things get sorted out as we race under the lights here at Las Vegas. A massive field here tonight. Definitely one of the biggest grids we've seen all season long, but it looks like Steve Loving and the number 27 machine will be able to get a little bit of a gap there, and looks like he's going to try and make that number 27 a few lanes wide as they go diving into turn three. Behind him, he's got Garrett Kinder, Peyton Johnson, the number 15 machine. Johnson's been very fast all season long, and here comes Rockefeller in the 09 Ford Mustang, working his way up. He's already up a couple of spots, trying to secure that third place spot from Garrett Kinder. Kinder getting stuck on that outside wall behind him. The field has all but broken into single file. It is a madness from the 10th place spot back. Everyone's trying to shuffle, grab some spots early on before dropping in file, but it's only a 100-lap race here, so not that far from what we've seen in the past. As Kinder trying to make something happen here. He's behind Dakota Camper in the number 3 machine. Camper's on the inside line, and Jason Rockefeller in the 09 is running the high line going into turn one here at Las Vegas. And look behind him, you've got two teammates, Brett Redder, Jeff Paisley. They're going side by side, coming out of two on the backstretch. Looks like Redder has a little bit better run there, and man, that's a lot of Arcadian Motorsports drivers mixed in the bunch. They're also accompanied by Bill Stringfellow in the number 38. He's running that high line, that blue and black machine. Gene Watkinson goes off track. Mike Uribe also off track. Not seeing a yellow flag coming out yet, so they may keep it green here as we get ready to start lap 5 at Las Vegas. Up front, it's still Steve Loving. Jason Rockefeller, the 09 machine, has worked his way up to second place and put down the fastest lap so far with a 30.22. Look at the number 3 machine, Dakota Camper, gets a little unsorted, and he's going to check up that inside line. Redder loses a bit of time there, and that's going to allow Bill Stringfellow in the 38 machine to charge back up front. Stringfellow in the number 38 Chevrolet, doing a great job making moves early on. He is up 6 spots from where he originally started. He is running 5th place, so up from 11th. But keep an eye on Kinder, the number 13 machine. He wants back up front, and he wants to do it quickly. Let's go check out the action up front. You've got Steve Loving, Jason Rockefeller, and Peyton Johnson all in the mix here. As look at that, Johnson's running the high line, trying to get around Rockefeller. But who will have it at the line here as they get ready to start lap 7. A lot of racing left in tonight, but these guys are doing a good job pushing hard and early on. Looks like Rockefeller will yield the second place spot to Peyton Johnson as Johnson puts down the fastest lap of the race at 30.2 flat. Peyton Johnson, he finds himself about 0.3 of a second behind race leader Steve Loving. Looked like Rockefeller might have got a little bit of a shove there from Dakota Camper in the number 3 machine. All is fair in love and race cars. And man, look at the field behind him. Still things are really getting anything but settled. As I believe that's the battle for 6 on your screen. Yeah, it is. Garrett Kinder, Brett Redder, Justin Wilkinson, Jeff Paisley all in the mix here. Kinder in the number 13. He's racing for Reaper Racing here tonight. Behind him, you've got Brett Redder, the league admin. He's running the number 97 with the Arcadian Motorsports machine. A lot of these drivers are in teams here for all of the original Rebel Racing League series they put on all throughout the week. And good to see more of the drivers hearing about the late night series and coming out and having a bunch of fun. Where else can you race on a Tuesday night, 11 p.m. Eastern, and surround yourself with like-minded individuals? Back up front, you've still got Steve Loving out front, but look at Dakota Camper charging hard, up 5 spots so far. He's trying to get up there to the race leader of Steve Loving. It's all Chevrolet up front, first through fourth right now, as the lone Ford, Jason Rockefeller, is in the highest position with a 5th place. Something kind of interesting here. There's exactly one Toyota on track right now, and that is Gene Watkinson in the 111 machine. Watkinson currently finds himself in 30th place out of 30 drivers that started tonight, but he is making do with the Chevrolet, or the Toyota, excuse me, and making it happen. So well done to him for getting out there, getting some seat time with his friends. But man, up front, things are still battling hard. You're watching Dakota Camper. He's in the number 3 machine, currently running 2nd place. All these guys in the top 3 running almost identical times. They're going to try and work together just a little bit, maybe get away from any possible carnage you may see in that mid to back pack so far. But we've gone 11 laps green so far, and now there's a battle for 4th place. Bill Stringfellow, he's trying to get around Justin Wilkinson. Oh, they get so close. Wilkinson's in the number 19 machine, that red and black car. Stringfellow is in the 38 Special, the blue and black. As now here comes Rockefeller as well, trying to move up in the number 9 machine. He's got Wilkinson on his outside line. Here comes Kinder as well in the number 13 machine. So front to back, some great racing, as only the top 5 starting to break down a single file and maybe push a little bit. But ooh, watch that bumper. That's Brett Redditor getting very, very close to Rockefeller's 09 Spider-Man machine. It just takes one little lapse of judgment, and you can find yourself rapidly becoming friends with both the outside and the inside wall. Now, Rockefeller's got to know he's got Redder and Paisley on the high line, 2 teammates that are willing to work together to try and push up towards the front, but it is still very early on the run, so you're not going to see too many aggressive moves too early on. Because everybody's going to find their groove, let the tires come in. And once they tighten up, it'll be a little bit harder to pass, but you may see a little bit less incidents as everybody gets used to the machines that are underneath them. Rockefeller, he's still going to the inside line, trying to make something happen against the 2 Arcadia Motorsports drivers. He's got both Brett Redder in the number 97. He's almost side by side with Redder. He is, and gets a little bit of an advantage on the inside. But then Jeff Paisley, the number 7 machine, also one of those Arcadia Motorsports drivers, as they're going to go side by side for one more lap here in Las Vegas. There's also a great battle forming up for 14th. You're watching Matt Geis in the number 2. He's been battling back and forth with Schappert in the 43. They've gone back and forth maybe 2 or 3 times that last couple of laps. So these guys running a little bit different lines, trying to figure out what's going to work for them in the long run. Redder and Paisley still working together to try and get around Rockefeller's 09 machine. This is the battle for 7th on screen right now, as Redditor and Rockefeller still side by side. And here comes teammate Jeff Paisley, the number 7 machine. He's going to try and give a little bit of a shove to his teammate, the 97. And get clear and start moving forward. But as they keep running side by side, no one's really gaining any ground here. And they find themselves about 2.6 seconds back from the leader, Steve Loving. Rockefeller still holding on to it. He's got Jeff Paisley on his outside door. Take a look. Here's David Sartwell Cornell. He's leading that. I guess you'd call it the 3rd pack at this point. Sartwell is in the number 63 machine, the Ford Mustang. Behind him, Michael Smith, Matt Geis, and Kai Schappert, all trying to work their way up to the front. Not sure when we're going to see a pit stop from all these drivers for fuel here tonight. We did not get any numbers on what the fuel window may be. But man, let's take another look at Steve Loving in the number 27 machine, charging hard. He's been up front all night, and what a beautiful paint scheme on the 27, the Chevrolet. He's doing a great job. Behind him, Dakota Camper in the number 3, and Peyton Johnson in the number 15. All these top 3 drivers keeping it very, very clean. But here comes Stringfellow in the 38 machine. He's trying to get his way up there as well. So keep an eye on the 38. He's up 8 spots so far as he dives it down the inside of Peyton Johnson's number 15 machine. I'm not sure what his tire wear is going to be as this run progresses because he's been charging very, very hard the entire opening 20 laps, but he's going to try and make it work once more against Johnson. As they're going to go side by side in turn 3, it looks like Johnson's going to have the run here, and it's going to put Stringfellow back behind him, but the 38 machine's still got to be happy. He's up 7 spots from where he has started. That is a pretty darn good advancement this early on into a race. Look at this. Here comes Kinder in the number 13. He's going to try and get through Stringfellow. Now, I've got to wonder if Bill in the number 38 machine, if maybe he's used up a little bit too much tire too early on and will not be able to find himself holding it as tight on the inside as some of these other drivers, as it looks like Johnson and Kinder were able to get around him fairly quickly. It's always a fine give and a take on what these guys are going to be able to give up early on a run if they're going to try and put down some hot laps and use up a little bit of that traction allocation they have, or if they're going to take it easy and settle for the long run. As Loving's last time by the race leader, he did a 31.57. Everyone in that top 5 pack is doing about mid to low 31s. As Johnson, he seems he has the pace to run with Camper and Loving, who is in second and first. But it would probably not behoove him to try and push too hard too early. I mean, leading laps is important, but leading the final lap is arguably the most important thing at this race. So he may be happy sitting in third, watching what the leaders are doing, seeing their line choices, and then knowing, hey, I can make a move later on if I need to. We've seen a couple hints at off tracks tonight, but so far everybody's been able to keep it on the track, which is very impressive. These guys are doing great. We're about a quarter of the way through the race, and I've got to say, so far it's been one of the cleaner races we've seen all season long. Here comes Kinder. He's a man on a mission. He's going to dive to the inside of Peyton Johnson. Not sure if he's going to make it stick as they're going to run side by side. Looks like Johnson's got a little bit more of a drive coming out of turn 4 through the tri-oval. So Kinder, the number 13 machine, was going to have to wait just a little while longer to make something happen. Johnson still running that mid to high line, doing a very good job of it so far. That's also allowing Bill Stringfellow, the number 38 machine, as Johnson and Kinder find themselves battling back and forth. The 38 able to get his nose up into the mix. The last thing these guys are going to want to do, though, is push too hard and race too hard and allow Loving and Camper to get too far of a lead. We are on lap 26, so we're about a quarter of a way through tonight's main event. It's still Loving out front, Camper second, Johnson third. We'll pull up the live timing tower for you here so everybody can see at home what these guys are doing. Out of 31 drivers that started, there is 28 still on the lead lap as John Dunn and Micah Uribe have come into pit lane already. Uribe with a very long pit stop of 53 seconds, so he may have had a little bit of damage on that number 77 machine and trying to get it fixed, maybe hoping for a caution later on. Historically, it'd be a safe bet to wait on one, but these guys are doing a fantastic job here tonight, still running clean and green out front as our top 5 pack really sticking with each other. We'll cycle back to 6th place. You've got Jason Rockefeller. He finds himself about 3.7 seconds away from that lead pack. He's got Brett Redder behind him in the number 97, David Servo-Cornell, and Jeff Paisley. A lot of very fast drivers that I think have been racing very early on for position. and that's allowed the top 5 to kind of stretch it out just a little bit. The top 5 kind of in a world of their own right now with over a 3.5 second gap. Because again, it's Loving, Camper, Johnson, Kinder, and Stringfellow are top 5. Really pulling away from that second gap. It seems for now they're going to be happy going single file just for a little bit. As right as we say that, Kinder looks to the inside line of Peyton Johnson. Kinder's going to dive it down the inside, going into turns 3 and 4. He'll be side by side with Johnson, but as these cars are really starting to tighten up, he knows, hey, I can't do with it. But oh, look at that! Stringfellow hints it going 3 wide, thinks better of it, and he backs out. And you've got a race for the lead as well. Steve Loving, he's on the high side, number 27. Here comes Dakota Camper in the number 3, trying to get that race lead, but when he's on that inside line, he can't carry as much speed onto the back stretch. His run gets just slightly diminished as Loving able to hold on to that preferred line, that mid to high line out of the corner exit. But let's see, here comes the Camper with another run. Loving defends, goes to the inside line, and says, no sir, if you're going to do that, it's going to have to be later on. So it'll still be Loving at the start and finish line, but Dakota Camper looks like he's starting to show Steve Loving's number 27 Chevrolet that front wheel every now and often. And let's talk about Kinder. He's up into 3rd place with the lone Ford, or the highest placing Ford right now. In a field of Chevrolets, he's doing a good job getting out there. Steve Loving's last time by was at 31.69. He's about 1.3 seconds off of his best in the session, as tire wear really starting to affect all of these drivers. And here comes lap traffic. That may be the 111 of Gene Watkinson. That is, Gene Watkinson's going to come into pit lane. He had a couple incidents early on. We saw him with a couple of off tracks, and it looked like he had pretty substantial damage on his lone Toyota out there on track. So he's going to come into pit lane and maybe get that car worked on. And these guys running very, very clean out front. Very impressed with the driving we've seen so far. If we get to see our first green flag pit stop strategy here at Original Rebels Racing Late Night League, I will probably lose my mind in the broadcast booth, because it's been really, really enjoyable for me as a broadcaster to see this series and these drivers develop. I believe this is the first time they've ran the late night series here at the Original Rebels Racing League. And it started off a little bit tough for some of the drivers as they all got used to pushing with each other. But now it looks like they're doing a great job, really charging hard and racing very, very clean. Loving still out front. Camper 2nd. Kinder 3rd. Stringfellow 4th. Peyton Johnson 5th. Who is going to be the first one out of these top 5 drivers to bring it into pit lane? And we did get confirmation that was the 111 of Gene Watkinson coming into pit lane, getting a little bit of repairs done on his Toyota, getting back out there, scoring some points for the team. Here comes Kinder once again, trying to make that pass for 2nd, as he looks like he will have it into turn 1. So let's see, can Camper and the number 3 machine carry a little bit more speed on the backstretch and keep Kinder pinched on that low line? It looks like it's going to work. But look at that. Here also comes Bill Stringfellow, the number 38. He says, all right, if you guys are going to keep that inside line open, I'm going to at least take a peek and see what happens here. Or as you say, that Stringfellow runs a very, very high line through 3 and 4. Does not appear to help him out with the draft much or the drive out of the corner, as Kinder's still able to maintain that gap. And Camper's gotten back on the gas. He's going back towards the front. Stringfellow's got to be tightening up pretty bad in the 38 machine. You see him pushing that front end up the racetrack, coming into turns 1 and turn 3. Let's see if he does it again here in 3, as he finds himself taking a more swooping line more and more often. Colt Lanford, he gets done with his pit cycle early on today, coming in on lap 35 for 4 fresh Goodyears and a tank of gas. So going for a bit of an undercut, trying to go back out there and maybe gain some more speed. And man, the battle for third really heating up still. Here comes Stringfellow. He's going to get around Kinder, as well as Peyton Johnson's going to take a look at the inside line coming into turn 1. Top 5 drivers doing a great job. Let's check on Jason Rockefeller in 6th place. He's got lap traffic in front of him. That Toyota we talked about earlier on. He's got Redder pretty close behind him, about a half-second gap, and then behind him a pretty substantial gap. Rockefeller finds himself 2 seconds above David Serbo Cornell, currently running 8th. Top 5 starting to get a little bit of breathing room up front. It's Steve Loving still out front. He's got about a 2/10 gap over 2nd place Dakota Camper. And Camper finds himself with a 3/10 of a second advantage to 3rd place Stringfellow. Kinder had problems there. He rapidly I'm gonna take it back. He came in for pit lane. That's a surprise. So Kinder, one of the first fast cars to bring it into pit lane. That will allow Rockefeller to move up to 5th. So let's see when the other top 4 drivers decide to come in. You still have Loving out front, Camper, Stringfellow, Johnson, and Rockefeller are still out on track. And who's going to be the first one to cycle it up front? Look at Peyton Johnson. He's side by side with Bill Stringfellow. It's your battle for third on screen right now. Johnson may be trying to find himself in a better position to enter pit lane here shortly, trying to guard that inside line so he can come in whenever he wants instead of relying to a driver on his inside to block him for pit lane. Stringfellow is going to retake 3rd position. Loving and Camper out front doing a great job so far. All the top 4 still staying out as Johnson trying to get that inside line, working on Stringfellow. Looks like it's going to work going into turn 1 as they cross start finish line. And now Johnson will take over 3rd place, but for how long? As Stringfellow has been unlikely to yield any positions all night long. Very interesting to see how the pit strategy is going to work out tonight. We are almost to the halfway mark, and the top, most of the field has not pitted yet. You have to go all the way back to 25th place to see when drivers have started pitting. Now, a couple of those drivers did have incidents and had to come in and maybe get some repairs done on the car, but for the most part, everybody doing a great job. As Justin Wilkinson in the number 19 machine, he's going to begin his pit cycle. And the battle of the lead is starting to shape up. Dakota Camper making his way around Steve Loving. I'm expecting to see Loving pit here, as maybe he was trying to get that inside line. And let's see what happens. It looks like they're going to stay out here for another lap. So Dakota Camper will get some laps led at Las Vegas. Steve Loving gets cycled back to 2nd in the number 27. And here comes Peyton Johnson, number 15, with a big run. Let's see if he has anything to do with it going into turn 1. He's not going to be able to get it right here. I think these guys may be going for a one-stop strategy if there is a caution-free night. And now it's the battle for 2nd. Here comes Peyton Johnson on the inside of Steve Loving. Loving's going to get cycled back one more spot. They're going to be side by side coming out of 4. Going into the tri-oval here. And Bill Stringfellow never one to yield. The number 38 machine, he's out there still charging hard, trying to get some more spots. Man, what great racing up front. We've had, I believe, 3 or 4 different leaders so far this race. But keep an eye on Jason Rockefeller in the 09 machine, as well as Redder, as these lead cars are really battling hard. That's allowing the 09 of Rockefeller, currently in 5th place, and the number 97 of Redder, 6th place, to start chipping away at that gap. There's going to be a great race of tire wear among these top 4 drivers. If they can keep this up, they can make it a one-stop race. If they can pit anywhere past the 50 lap mark, as we will be crossing the halfway mark this time by Johnson, number 15, still running in 3rd place. You got Steve Loving to the inside. Lovin's going to initiate his pit cycle. So it'll still be Camper out front, Stringfellow 2nd, Johnson 3rd. These guys are going to try and drive these machines until they are on empty to make it a one-stop race. They have not fallen off the pace too terribly much. They're about 1.5 seconds off their best lap so far tonight. Peyton Johnson guarding that inside line, maybe looking for a pit stop here. He is. Johnson's going to come in. Having to really slow down that number 15 machine to avoid that pit road violation that can very quickly ruin your night. Dakota Camper, he's working up on lap traffic. That is the number 7 of Jeff Paisley, who came in for a pit stop already. Dakota Camper going to come in, Stringfellow going to come in. Redder will take the race lead. Now Redder has not pitted yet in the number 97. He is going to stay out, get a little bit of track position here. 2nd place will now be William Griffith. 3rd, Jamie Dobbs. 4th, Kenneth Farmer. And 5th, Clint Rice. Now, to be fair, all these drivers will have to come in here, but I think they're going to run out as long as they can to try and put themselves in the best tire position possible for later on in the race. So in front of Redder is the number 1 machine. That's James Jones. He is 1 lap down, 2 laps down from the race leaders. Jones's last pit stop was on lap 45. But Redder, Griffith, Dobbs, Farmer, and Manzo, the old hitman running 5th place in the 44 machine, as well as Warnecki, have not pitted yet. Look at Redder. He looks like he's slowing down. Thought about a pit stop, decided against it. Now, the longer these drivers can stay out, the better they'll be looking for a late run in the race, especially if we can pull off a late night series first and go green from start to finish. Redder is still staying out there. He's going to run that number 97 Chevrolet all the way dry if he has anything to say about it. And just like that, he's still out there charging. His last time by was at 31.96, so he's right at that 1.5 seconds slower mark on very worn tires. He's gone 55 laps on this machine so far and really hasn't slowed down all that much. These tires will kind of reach a plateau when they start to fall off, and they'll sit there for quite a long time, and then you'll see the lap times drastically fall off. As William Griffith, he's a good example. His best was at 30.58. His last time by was a 34-second flat. So about that lap 55, 56 limit, depending on how you're driving these machines and able to hold on to it. Really shows you can carry a pace, but after a while, you just kind of fall on your face. Now, with this green flag pit strategy that we're seeing, as Redder is going to come in, Griffith looks like he's staying out. We'll see what the number 12 does here as he's on the high line. And the number 19 machine is going to come flying down the inside at the tri-oval. Let's see what happens here with the mixed tires out on track right now. If you're going to see a caution, this is probably going to be it, as you've got some guys with very, very worn tires. Case in point, William Griffith, the number 12 Ford Mustang, your current race leader, has not come in. So 57 lap old tires here at Las Vegas, a very hot track that is known for chewing up some tires, versus a lot of guys that have come in anywhere as early as lap 40 all the way up to 55, 56. So right now you've got William Griffith in first and Alan Warnecki in second, the two drivers that have not pitted yet. William Griffith, his last time by was a 32.58. Warnecki did a 32.35. Very interesting strategies developing here. It's going to be, I'm very interested to see what we're gonna see. Now Griffith and Warnecki, they could just be hoping for a caution right now and want to keep charging along, but they've got to keep an eye out. Steve Loving, our previous race leader, he's only about 9 seconds back from Warnecki at this moment, and he is almost 1.8 seconds faster his last time by. Warnecki's going to come in, and William Griffith still staying out in the number 12 machine, the Reaper Racing sponsored driver. And there's a whole lot of cars with fresh rubber trying to make their way around the leader. Now Griffith does have a 20-second lead over second place Steve Loving, but you can tell just how tight that number 12 machine is as Brett Redder gets his lap back, charging around the race leader. Griffith's last time by at 32.95, so he is officially past that plateau where the tires are rapidly falling off. He is a full 2.5 seconds off of his best time of the session. So I think right now he's just praying for a late caution as we get ready to start lap 61 over the halfway mark here tonight. And Griffith will be our final driver to enter pit lane. That will allow Steve Loving to take the race lead. Griffith will come out about 20 seconds behind Loving on track if he does not get a speeding penalty. All these drivers take about 45 seconds from the time they've crossed the first cones on pit lane to the time they cross the exit cones is how long the pit stops are. Everybody averaging about a 14.5 second pit stop if they do their part and hit their marks perfectly. As Loving in the 27, he's trying to get around Jamie Dobbs in the number 91 machine to put Dobbs a lap down, but Dobbs is saying, no sir, I'm gonna hold on to it. Dobbs pitted on lap 54, so he's got some of the fresher tires out on track right now. But man, this race lead's about to get very, very exciting. You've got Steve Loving in the number 27 machine. He's your race leader, right glued to the bumper of that Miller-sponsored Chevrolet. Dakota Camper in second, and Jason Rockefeller with great driving strategy. He's found himself in a possible podium contention in the 09 Spider-Man machine. Oh, here comes the battle for the lead as Dakota Camper looks to the inside, driving it all the way to the bottom here at Las Vegas. He's going to squeeze Steve Loving's 27. He's going to get by clear using that lap traffic to his advantage, and that's also allowing Rockefeller to get up there in the mix. Rockefeller's about 0.2 of a second back from second place Steve Loving. Rockefeller has closed down that gap to absolutely nothing. He's all over the backside of Steve Loving. Look for the Spider-Man machine, the 09, the charge hard here. Rockefeller came in on lap 51, Loving on 49, and Dakota Camper came in on lap 51. So everyone on pretty much the same tire strategy here. And Peyton Johnson, number 15 machine, he's back in the mix. So the top four has put the band back together, and they're going to charge hard for the remaining laps. 35 laps to go as they cross the line. Still Camper out front, Loving second, but he's got a whole lot of company from Jason Rockefeller's 09 machine. The Spider-Man is coming up the inside. There's lap traffic in effect. That is the number 77 machine of Mike Uribe with the Magic Mike Motorsports. The top drivers get through nice and clean, but it's going to get a little bit hairy here as Jamie Dobbs, number 91, he's going to stay glued to Rockefeller. Now, 91 is not racing for position. He's trying to maintain that lucky dog spot, the first car on the lead lap, or one lap down, I should say. So if there is a caution, he will get the wave around. Gene Watkinson comes into pit lane. Micah Uribe coming back into pit lane as well. Rockefeller looking for an opening against Peyton Johnson's number 15 machine. That's the battle for third place. They have 34 laps left. We know they can make it on fuel and tires at this point, as we saw some very, very late pits. Redditor came in on lap 56. William Griffith, he stretched it out 60 laps. Griffith finds himself in 18th place right now. So he's got a lot of driving to do to try and get back up front. Cole Lanford, he's coming back into pit lane as well to grab some fresh tires. Now, while this has been going on, Dakota Camper has been able to use lap traffic and their draft to get a little bit of a gap over second place Steve Loving. He's got about 8/10 over Loving right now, and that's not going to help as Johnson and Loving are battling back and forth for position. So they will once again find themselves losing time to race leader Dakota Camper's number 3 machine, as now it's Johnson's turn to run it all the way to the bottom, try and get around Steve Loving going into 1. He's going to make a dive at it here. They're going to go side by side, coming back onto the back straightaway. It's Johnson on the inside, Rockefeller on the outside. Behind them, you've got Rockefeller in the 09 machine, looking to see what these guys do and see where he can get a spot when he can take it. Lap traffic trying to hold the high line to get out of the way for the race leaders, doing a very great job of not interfering the race going on up front. As Dakota Camper, he still has a comfortable gap, 0.8 of a second behind him. Steve Loving in the race for his life, battling with Peyton Johnson, Jason Rockefeller. There's lap cars everywhere here at Las Vegas. Johnson, Rockefeller currently running 3rd and 4th respectively. Oh, look at Rockefeller, almost gets on the inside of lap traffic. That is the number 21 machine of Michael Morrison. Bit of a close call here as these guys are shuffling all over the place. Bill Stringfellow, he's worked his way back up to 5th place and the number 38, and most importantly, he's kind of gotten a little bit closer to those top 3 drivers. But man, lap traffic definitely a factor here at Las Vegas. Just being able to use the draft of those cars, highly beneficial for everyone out on track. And sometimes it can play to your advantage and sometimes it cannot. As we see Loving and Johnson still battling up front. And then Johnson also getting a little bit of attention from Rockefeller, the 09 machine, still charging very, very hard in his Ford Mustang. 29 laps to go. It has been green thus far. We've definitely broken any record of green flag runs that we've seen here for the late night series. Extremely impressed with the driving we're seeing here tonight as well. Camper out front, Loving 2nd, Johnson 3rd, Rockefeller 4th, and Stringfellow 5th. They've been very, very fast and consistent cars all night long. Everybody pushing when they need to and not making any gutsy passes here. $19 drivers still in the lead lap out of 31 that have made it. We've got 29 cars still out there and pushing hard. As Camper keeps getting faster and faster. His last time by was at 31.5 or 31.53, just updated. Steve Loving put down a 31.52. Johnson a 31.44 and Rockefeller a 31.5. So almost everybody in this top 5 running mid to low 31s. As Stringfellow running 5th place, he's the fastest out of that top 5 with a 31.35. Steve Loving doing a great job holding on to 2nd place. He's trying to catch the draft of the race leader, the number 3 machine of Dakota Camper, because he knows behind him he's got Peyton Johnson, Jason Rockefeller, 2 very fast drivers trying to get out there. And work their way up to the front. It'll be 25 to go as they cross the line. I think right now the race for second is going to be where all the action is out, unless these guys can work together to catch up and take away the 1.2 second lead that Dakota Camper has on the rest of the field right now. Steve Loving, he's got Peyton Johnson behind him. Johnson looks to the inside, so there will be no working together quite yet. They're going to battle for that podium spot and not worry too much about getting up there. But man, the top five, or excuse me, the second place of Loving all the way back to fifth of Stringfellow, only separated by 0.4 of a second. It is 25 laps to go and a lot of racing left on track. Who's going to have the best tires towards the end of this run? Who's pushing very hard early on? Camper still extending that lead by just a little bit. He's about 15, let's call about 0.15 seconds a lap faster than the rest of the field right now. Averaging about 1/10 of a lap faster over this second place pack that is battling hard for position. Oh, here we go. Peyton Johnson goes to the high line as well as Stringfellow. Now look at Rockefeller. He's trying to get up there. He's side by side with Stringfellow right now. That's the battle for fourth on screen. And oh no, here we go. Stringfellow able to hold on to it. The number 38 machine looked like Rockefeller may have got into him there. And we're going to keep it green with 23 laps to go, but a big moment as Stringfellow had a spectacular save in the number 38. That will slow down this battle for fourth as Stringfellow is going to hold on to it. Rockefeller on the high line, but man, what a close moment that was. As Stringfellow find himself looking out of his window at a 45-degree angle, holding on for dear life, but able to save it. He's going to try and let those tires cool down just a little bit before charging up as Stringfellow will get there. Rockefeller will get the position, getting up to fourth place. They find themselves about a second back from Peyton Johnson in third place, who is still glued to the back bumper of Steve Lovin in the 27. Lap traffic kind of watching what's going on and seeing what's going to happen. That's Jamie Dobbs in the number 91. Finds himself one lap down from the lead pack, just hoping for a caution and a lucky dog. But here comes Peyton Johnson on the inside of Steve Loving, trying to make a move for second place with 21 laps to go as they cross the line. Will Johnson make it stick going into turn one, or will he once again yield the spot to Loving? It looks like he's got a run here. Let's see, can he hold on to it as these tires are going to start up? They're about 25 laps on these set of tires. We've seen guys be able to hold pace from 20 to 30 laps on a set, and some guys stretching all the way out to 50 laps. Johnson once again going to the inside. He's side by side with Loving, the 27 machine on the high line. That's Steve Loving. Peyton Johnson, number 15. He's the blue and white car on the inside lane. Looks like Loving will hold on to it one more lap. And now these guys are just slowing themselves down as Dakota Camper, he has about a 2-second gap on this second place battle. Here comes Rockefeller in the 09 machine. He wants back in the mix. He wants a podium spot today. Man, great racing here at the late night series as all these guys are really letting it hang out. We saw some good saves. Man, great racing out front. You've still got Steve Lovin. He's trying to hold off Peyton Johnson, but Rockefeller, the 09 machine, no stranger to using the bumper. He's charging hard. He wants that podium spot here today. Rockefeller looks to the inside of Peyton Johnson, says no, not quite yet. We're going to wait a little bit longer. It's 18 laps to go. Second through fifth running very, very close to each other. You've got Loving in second, Johnson third, Rockefeller fourth, and Bill Stringfellow after a huge save in the 38 machine, able to get back up there to this pack, and he's going to try and chase down Rockefeller after that early incident. Nothing but good times on and off the track for these competitors. They're all friends on, or even when they're not racing the late night series, they're racing some of the other original Rebel Racing League series. Peyton Johnson looks like he's going to get shuffled to the outside. Is Rockefeller going to be able to capitalize here? It does not look like he will, but now Rockefeller's going to have a pretty good run going into turn 3. He says, no, I'll drop back in the draft here just for a moment. Watching and waiting to see what's going to happen in front of him as Johnson looks like he's tightening up, not holding that inside line quite as much. But he will drift to that low line to throw a block on any potential runs he has behind him. Rockefeller looks like he got loose there, as well as Stringfellow. They're starting to really tighten up going into the corners. It's going to be 16 laps to go at Las Vegas. Dakota Camper still has a 2.5 second gap over second place Steve Loving. And behind Loving, quite a battle still ongoing. Peyton Johnson, he's running third in the number 15 machine. Rockefeller in the 09, he wants up there, he wants on the podium. Who's going to have any tires left here for this run? All these competitors putting about 50 laps on this tire strategy, making it a one-stop race. One of the only green flag pit stop races we've had the pleasure of calling for this series. And these guys really showing what it takes to put in the work between races to get up there and make something happen. Look at this. Here comes Stringfellow in the 38. He's getting mighty close to Jason Rockefeller's 09 Ford Mustang. Did not have the drive coming out of turn 4 that he wanted. Now look at Rockefeller. He's going to try and take a move on Peyton Johnson's number 15. Now he knows he wants that podium spot, but he does not want to tip his hand too early and risk having to really use up those tires late in the run to try and hold on to a position defensively. There's smoke up front. No caution as of yet. Up front, you've got Dakota Camper in the number 3 machine, a very comfortable lead. He's got about a 2.7 second gap, but he also has internet problems. So that's the last thing you want to see out of your race leader, especially if you're the current race leader, Dakota Camper. So hopefully he gets that dialed in and all fixed up. Then back to second place where things are heating up. Here comes Peyton Johnson on the inside of Steve Loving's number 27 machine going into turn 1. Rockefeller, he's also in the mix as well. Oh, they're going to look at going 3 wide into turn 3. It's Rockefeller on the inside, Johnson on the middle line, and Steve Loving on the high line. Let's see what happens as they come out of turn 4. And look at Stringfellow, the number 38 machine. He also wants in the mix. He's going to get around Rockefeller and take over 4th place. Finds himself up 7 spots from where he originally started tonight. But with 11 laps to go, things are about to rapidly heat up here at Las Vegas. As Camper, he's just happy he's not involved in any of this. He's able to stay out front and click off some good, clean laps. He's got a 3-second gap to second place Steve Loving at this point, as this pack's only going to get a little bit slower as they keep battling for position. It's Steve Loving. He's going to be side by side with Peyton Johnson going into the tri-oval. Johnson does have the inside line. And behind them, Rockefeller and Stringfellow, they're going to go side by side as well. They're 2 wide and 2 rows deep. Now 10 laps to go at Las Vegas. The battle for second is really putting on a show here tonight. Loving and Johnson still side by side. They've got lap traffic in front of them, which can always get extremely excited when you're running a pack like this, and especially very late in the run. Everybody's running extremely tight, doing their best to hold on to these race cars. Oh man, Loving and Johnson putting on a show right now. They're going to be side by side going into turn 1. You've got the number 5 machine who is lapped. Or about to be lapped. That's Brett Grunwald, and one of the Arcadian Motorsports drivers. He's going to hold the high line to try and let these drivers through, but oh, this is where it's going to get very, very exciting very quickly. Grunwald is right in the way of the race leaders. They're going to go 3 wide into turn 3. That is not what you want to see at the end of this run. It just takes one moment of misfortune, and that's going to slow down Steve Loving just enough. Look at Jason Rockefeller charging hard. The number 9 machine is going to take over second place. Now third place. Johnson's going to take over second place. Bill Stringfellow, he's in 4th. Steve Loving has gotten cycled back to 5th. They're going to go back and forth here. Loving trying to make something happen to get back up in the groove. That'll put Stringfellow back into 5th place, but for how long, as these guys are driving the wheels off. And the battle for second is very, very heated. Now it's Johnson in second, Rockefeller third. And they've got about a 3/10 gap over Steve Loving and Bill Stringfellow, who are still side by side going into turn one. You've got Steve Loving on the high line in the number 27. You've got Stringfellow number 38 trying to get that inside line working. And now Lap Traffic is going to interject themselves once again in the race for the top 5. That is the number 1 of Jamie Dobbs you see on screen. He is a lap down. And you've also got Hitman Monzo. He's in the mix. Now, those guys are trying to battle for position if they can. They're running very, very close to each other. So it is a gentleman's rule here for oval racing that if you're a lapped car, you get out of the way of the race leaders. But if you're battling for position, that goes out the window. And speaking of position, here comes Rockefeller on the inside of Peyton Johnson's number 15 machine. It'll be 4 laps to go as they cross the line. Rockefeller's up 3 spots. Dakota Camper, he's still your race leader. This is the battle for second on screen. Camper has over a 4.5 second gap on the second and third place drivers, as Rockefeller currently second, Johnson third, Loving fourth, and Stringfellow fifth have put on a spectacular show here tonight at Las Vegas, shuffling positions all night long. Man, what a fantastic race from all these drivers. They have to be absolutely ecstatic for the show they've put on here today. So it's still Dakota Camper out front, Rockefeller now second, Johnson third, Loving fourth, and Stringfellow fifth. Rockefeller, he has about a 3/10 second advantage over third place Peyton Johnson. 3 laps to go. All these guys came in around the lap 49 to 51 mark, so everybody on very, very equal tires. And man, Lap Traffic has been absolutely terrifying to no fault of their own. Everybody's out there and running great. I mean, we've been caution-free this so far tonight, so that speaks very highly of everyone on track. But these race leaders have to be nervous. It just takes one little bit of moment of misfortune, and you can find yourself with a ruined race that nobody wants to see right now. As Rockefeller, he's getting around Lap Traffic very, very quickly. Lap Traffic doing their best to hold the high line. As now Peyton Johnson, he's going to squeeze his way through. Oh, hold on to it, boys. We made it too far into the night to have any big moments. Some of the lap cars opting to get down on the apron just to get out of the way. It's 2 laps to go. These guys are battling hard. Peyton Johnson finds himself with about a 6/10 of a second disadvantage to Jason Rockefeller. But he still has Steve Loving, Bill Stringfellow right behind him, and all these guys have been pushing hard all night long for this top 3 spot. And man, I've got to say, this is hands down the best race we've seen so far for the late night series at the original Rebels Racing League, sponsored by Hall Sheet Metal. The Sin City 150 has been a spectacular race here tonight. But let's look at this. It's going to be your race leader, Dakota Camper, will come by at the line for the final time. He's going to win it. Jason Rockefeller, he's crossing for second place. And it looks like Peyton Johnson will get third place as Steve Loving will secure fourth place. Man, what a great job from all of these racers. Absolutely spectacular from start to finish. These guys have got to be extremely proud. I'm proud of them for them. This was a great, great race. And let's look at Dakota Camper, who's going to make his way for the final time in the number 3 machine for some victory burnouts and champagne popping. He earned it tonight, that's for sure. Getting a little bit of love from his competitors. Man, what a great race from all these guys. We're still waiting on Peyton Johnson and Jason Rockefeller to make their way up to the waiting room for their post-race interviews. And unfortunately, a little bit of carnage happening post-race. I'm not sure if that's allowed in the series or not, but we're going to grab first. We're going to get Peyton Johnson, the number 15 machine, bring it on the podium. Man, you guys put on a fantastic show here tonight.
Thank you. I bet it was fun to watch.
Hands down, I think the best race you guys have done yet so far for the Late Night Rebels series. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the only green flag race we've had so far, right, Peyton?
I didn't get a run last week, but I don't think it was green flag at Auto Club. But so yeah, 100 laps, green flag, start to finish, and everybody racing hard and clean.
Yeah, I mean, you guys put on a show, and nothing was certain at that point. As we saw, I mean, everybody shuffling position for all night long, and I mean, I'm extremely impressed by what we saw tonight. I mean, how did you feel later on the run? We saw you guys stretching out that first pit stop. Did you go in tonight thinking it was going to be a one-stop stop race, or were you thinking it was going to be a little bit different if we saw some cautions? What were you thinking was going to happen?
With the one faster pair, I figured there'd be a couple early cautions, but it was really clean and everybody ran great, and I'd love to see that every week.
I do as well, my friend. That was a great run. Now, Peyton, we hope to see you up in the booth more often, but before I let you sign off, is anybody you'd like to thank or give a shout-out to tonight?
I got to thank Hall Sheet Metal, Magic Mike Motorsports, Arcadian Motorsports, Smil Racing Design, Butt Kicker, you guys, Team Goon Squad for putting on the broadcast. I go back and watch it every week after the race, and it's a great broadcast. Thanks to Steve Loving for running so clean there. Made his car about 6 lanes wide, and I burned up my stuff trying to get by him, but it was a great race. We raced each other super clean. I got to thank my sponsor, Pay to Win Setup Shop, that have their paint on the car, and glad to be a part of their team and glad to run in this league. I mean, it's a lot of great drivers.
Always a pleasure, my friend. We hope to see you do well next week as well, man. Great job out there.
Thanks. Have a good evening.
All right, up next, we've got Jason Rockefeller, and hands down my favorite painted race car, the 09 machine, the Spider-Man painted car. Man, great run tonight. You found yourself up 3 positions from where you started, but it was a back-and-forth night all night long for you, my friend.
Yeah, it was, James. We gave it our all. I mean, we tried to make it a 2 weeks in a row, but just didn't have enough there. You know, congrats to Dakota on the win, but it was definitely one hell of a race throughout the whole pack, throughout those 100 laps.
Yeah, I mean, always awesome to see great green flag runs. That's one of my favorite things to see as a broadcaster and a racer. Let you guys work on strategy and who's going to have the most tires at the end. I've got to ask, what happened to you and Bill Stringfellow kind of late in that run, maybe around the lap 70 or so mark? Was it did you guys just get a little bit closer than you thought you would when the cars tightened up?
Honestly, I think I'll take blame for it. I mean, I didn't even go back and look at the replay yet after the race. I was trying to lean on his left rear a little bit because I knew he had that run down the back with the draft, and I just wanted to pull him back a little bit. And I think I got a little too close for comfort. I don't know if I net coded him. I don't know if I hit him or what, but he had a hell of a save, and I'm shocked that we were able to keep it going. But apologies to him and those 38 guys. But you know, we were just racing for position there at the end, and just glad he saved it and glad he kept going.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, I can't say this enough. You guys put on one of the best shows I've seen in a while. Great to see you up on the podium again, my friend. Before I let you sign off and pop that virtual champagne, if you'd like to give any shout-outs, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I got to thank Shappy Edits. I got to thank Smil Racing Designs, the Rowdy Energy affiliate program, Original Rebels Racing League for putting on these great leagues and events that we always race. Team Goon Squad and you, James, for broadcasting this phenomenal event. iRacing for giving us this beautiful platform for us to go out there and race and have fun at these late night events and throughout the week. Got to thank my teammate Josh Thompson and my cousin for giving us the great team and all the momentum we've had carried on into the season. Got to thank my girlfriend for supporting us. And yeah, pretty much it. And I got to also thank the race sponsor again, Whole Sheet Metal. Really appreciate them coming on board again and sponsoring the race.
Well, Jason, great job out there, man. Always a great time having you up in the podium booth with that spectacular car, and hope to see you up here more often, my friend.
Thanks very much, James. Have a good one, buddy.
All right, and up next, the man of the hour, Dakota Camper, and the number 3, a dominant run out there tonight, my friend.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Finally got around Steve there. That was a good battle those first 40-some laps, and got a little bit fresher tires, worked the lap traffic right, and got out front and set sail.
Yeah, it looked like that lap traffic kind of got exciting for, really the top 5. Everybody was doing their best to hold the high line, but some of those guys were racing for position. And as you and I know as racers race. So were you a little bit worried that was going to affect your race more in that long run towards the end?
I was kind of glad for the lap traffic when I was in second because that really slowed him up. He caught some wrong. There was a couple there where I caught just right and got a good run out of the corner and really, basically slingshotted me down the straightaway and caught me right back to his bumper.
Well, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But, what point did you feel like hey, I've got a great chance of winning this in that second run?
Oh, on the second run, as soon as I got around him, I was like, if I can just – because I saw whoever was in third was catching us, and I was like, if they get side by side – I can be gone. And they were, I think the next 4 or 5 guys was back there racing hard, and I was just setting sail.
Yeah, 2nd through 5th was battling hard that entire second run, but you had up to a 4 or 5 second gap at one point as those guys were charging back and forth very hard, dealing with lap traffic. Now, did the car still feel good after 50 laps, or was it getting a little bit unbearably tight?
On the first run, it was tight because being behind him, you really got aero tight. So it burned up the right front really bad. And then once I got out into clean air and I got out in front of the lap traffic, I was really just trying to save my tires. So at the end there, I could have went all the way a whole fuel run. It would have been fine.
Well, you looked great out there, man. You made it look easy. And the biggest thing, we had our first green flag run here at the Late Night Series. So, well done to you and really all the drivers who were out there tonight. That was a spectacular show. Dakota, before I let you sign off tonight and celebrate, if there's anybody to give a shout-out to, friends, family, sponsors, it is your time to shine, my friend.
Yeah, I want to thank my teammate, Bill Stringfellow, back there. I think he finished top 5 as well. Got to thank Unchained. They were on the car today. They do great work around our area. And, of course, all the sponsors for the league, the whole sheet metal, Magic Mike Motorsports, all the Acadia Motorsports, Smil Racing Design, Butt Kicker, all those guys that support the league. This has been a lot of fun getting out there, and anytime you can go 100 green flag laps, it's a lot of fun. So everybody that I've come back by on the lap cars that give me room, thank you to all you guys too.
Well, very professional. Well done, Dakota. We hope to see you up on the podium more often, and enjoy the night of celebrations, my friend.
Absolutely. Have a good one, and good job out there on the broadcast.
Thank you, sir. And that is going to do us for the original Rebel Racing League, the Sin City 150, sponsored by Hall Sheet Metal. Great job to all these drivers out there tonight. As a broadcaster and fellow racer, that was a very good run from all of these drivers. We'd like to, as always, thank the original Rebel Racing League for having us on board, providing their broadcast. And again, this is the best race I think they've had so far this season. I'm looking forward to more and more great races with these guys. On behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, I'm James East. We'll see you same time, same place next week. Thank you guys for tuning in, and have a great night.